Real role models used to be flesh and blood. People that you not only saw, but could feel, touch, see at their worst and how they rose above it or were buried under it. The directions they chose, did they have standards they wouldn't cross or rules they wouldn't break, no matter if it was advantageous to them? It's important to know the person you idolize is a real person, not just a carefully crafted image, sanitized for TV, internet, etc. Today's children's role models are movie, TV stars. All you need is to be good looking, cultivate an image, and carefully map out what you want people to see. It works because they only have to maintain that for as little as an hour a day, then go home and live their life. They get the adoring fans, take in money, and still get to be horrible people. All they have to fear is eventually your luck, their luck, might run out. When you pretend to have standards, and then it's discovered you have feet of clay, all of those that envied you, wanted to model their life after you, will dissolve away, and worse, there is always someone else ready to crucify you, to rise up on your funeral pyre. All too often, it works because today we don't have standards. Many kids don't even have the faintest clue what personal responsibility is. Their role models don't even exist, and when they try to emulate their role models and are unsuccessful, they become demoralized. How much anger they internalize of themselves will then be turned to hatred when they discover the role models they envied couldn't do it either. All the hatred they placed on themselves because they believed you were a real person, only to discover it was all a fantasy. That is why Republicans that spout high standards of morality rarely survive when they are found out, while liberals, who all too often don't try and present themselves as perfect, seem to scrape by and still have a career. They didn't pretend to be the keeper of morals. See the microcosm of 2016. Many people looked to reporters. They envied them. I know I still trusted them. Wanted to be the heroes that had standards, only to find all the words pushed out there in the past was just words. They didn't believe any of it. Some maybe, but I doubt they are any of the big name people on the major networks. Last 2 years, and little by little, all the respect I had for them is falling off like a scab filled with pus or a sunburn as the dead skin flakes off. I still believed that reporters were on the front line of honesty, maybe tarnished by the rot set in back in 1992, and it has accelerated till we hit critical in 2016 election. Worse, they are so delusional they can't admit the respectability and integrity they once snuggled in is all but gone, and few can be looked at today with respect by those with a belief in right and wrong. It is also why Trump, as flawed as he is, still stands in the days we still had standards. Someone so flawed could never hope to be president. However, he has never claimed to be perfect. He presented himself always as flawed as he really is. While his attackers, politicians, reporters, and celebrities, have claimed to have the moral high ground. They, like Republicans and religious leaders in the past, claim to be role models, but after 3 decades of preaching and seeing these same people fall, while more flawed people fill their positions and no repentance, not once showing humility, is it any wonder compared to those Trump at least gets points for not trying to pretend? It feels like morality today is missing, but like a phoenix it always comes back by those who rediscover its value. This decade, we are on the death knell of the hypocrisy and fantasy of the shallow people who, like roaches, can't stand the light of day. I hope we have reached bottom and things are turning around as it always must, but it won't be in my lifetime. If humanity is to get better, it's not going to be from any of us alive today, because the most unsightly people are the most influential. But eventually, the old dies out, and a new, hopefully stronger generation, hardened by the memory of the anti-role model, whose mantra will be not to be anything like the last generation. That is the generation I pray comes soon. We need to relearn what the World War II generation learned. They were the children of the Great Depression. They understood what was really important because they lacked someone to hand them everything on a silver platter. I know we are close to that generation because my generation is going to leave nothing but dust for that generation to inherit. But I pray the promise of the Constitution will still be there because even though we citizens have fallen far short of what was left us, the Constitution has not been gutted, just ignored, waiting for a generation that will rediscover what my generation hated. However, until then, humanity must choke and blindly grope in the haze as our fantasy role models lead us down a false path that will eventually reach a dead end. Note, I say my generation. We are all flawed. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. Things go in cycles, and each year, if you're lucky, you will learn more about yourself and focus less on what you can't control. We should always strive to be better than we were yesterday, not envy, whine, and complain over what others have. Just try and remember you are not so perfect that you can advise others on how they should live. Listen, offer ideals, but always remember humility is of far more value than power in the long run.